Atheists YouTube pages and YouTube channels and whatnot, and see just see where it takes us. That's the name of this game. That's how we do. Okay, we go down the rabbit hole that the YouTube algorithm directs us to, and it just keeps on sending us like down crazier and crazier paths. And so that's where we're at now. It seems to me that this one might be kind of fun. Now, I'm not really sure about this one. I've only seen, I think, a couple of these. I'm not really sure. But we can take a watch. These are all
The rapture is about to take place. Yes, you heard that right. We will uncover the signals and cautions that have gone unnoticed in this eye-opening video.
Okay, so they're already talking like they're a fucking alien species, like pretending to be a human, pretending to be a Christian. I don't know. It just sounds insane. It sounds ridiculous. Oh, it's so great.
So
and
watch the
Kyle's
video
back.
till
Hey. Hey. What's up, Cosmic Kyle? What's up?
end to learn about the rapture signals that have already occurred, suggesting that the rapture has taken place.
Okay.
Benjamin and Elijah were previously members of a Jesus-following commune. Benjamin, an elderly guy, had been gravely worried by the recent events in Ukraine and Turkey. He reflected on the predictions stated by Jesus throughout his time on earth and wondered if they were unfolding right before his eyes. Because of his fears,
Y'all all wonder that. Like, this isn't a new thing. Like, this is a constant with you people. Like, you're constantly, is this happening right now? And here's the little secret. You all think that it's happening all the time, no matter what's happening, no matter what time period you're in, and no matter who you are or what denomination you are. It doesn't even matter. It's always happening all the time, no matter what. Okay.
Benjamin questioned the relevance of these occurrences. Elijah, a youthful and inquisitive spirit, approached Benjamin, conscious of his knowledge and looking for solutions to the complex issues.
Terrible. What is going on here? They got the cross on the wall here, and they're both reading to each other, I guess. Like, why are they dressed like this? Like, what is this, like a Catholic thing? Do they do this? They have to dress like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like in training or whatever or something? I don't even know.
Plagued his mind. Elijah wanted to know if the conflict in Ukraine and the earthquakes in Turkey were indicators mentioned by Jesus before his death. He wondered if
Cosmic Kyle said, the rapture did happen. As it turns out, the dinosaurs were the truest believers.
they were in the latter days. After a brief period of reflection, Benjamin proceeded to tell a narrative from long ago, one of a divided Israel in the midst of enormous conflict under Roman control. During that time of darkness, certain organizations, such as the Pharisees and Sadducees, were more concerned with preserving control than with understanding God's message of love and mercy. In the midst of doom, some recognized...
So they're going with the narrative that the Pharisees and Sadducees were the ones that got Jesus killed, I guess, because they're obviously talking about Jesus. I hate it when they do this, like, and that makes me think of another time when, there was division, and that was when Jesus was there. It's always like, come on, man. Like, we know you're talking about Jesus. Don't fucking, but Jesus wasn't the one. Like, Jesus got crucified, according to most scholarship. Like, Jesus got crucified because he went into a temple and flipped a bunch of tables over, made a whip out of cords, and started hitting people with them. So yeah, that is why he got crucified, most likely.
Jesus as the Messiah, and steadfastly followed him through persecution and death. As Benjamin told the narrative, Elijah began to notice
why is this Bible so tiny? He's got like no, you don't get the oh god, you get the mini Bible. Sorry, buddy. Okay. Jeez Louise.
Between past and current incidents. He noted an increase in religious deceit, similar to what Jesus had warned about, and the conflict in Ukraine and earthquakes in Turkey appeared to correspond with the signs that Jesus had talked of.
How?
Elijah, eger for clarity, asked Benjamin how they could be certain of these interpretations and indications. How could they
You can't. Sorry, buddy. Just clue you in here. You can't. Nope.
Handle uncertainty while being faithful. Benjamin informed Elijah gently that they couldn't foresee the exact time of these occurrences. He did, however, highlight the significance of being vigilant and prepared.
What is
They needed to be solid in their faith and believe God's promises. Benjamin cited Jesus as saying that there will be battles and rumors of warfare, but that people need not be concerned.
Yeah, because that's never happened before. There's never been wars or even rumors of wars. That's brand new. That just started. That just started with the Ukraine thing. That's
These things must occur,
Jeez.
but the end is not yet. Benjamin's
okay.
comments brought Elijah comfort.
I love when they say, but the end is not yet. Like, oh, really? Shit, I thought this shit ended. I thought we were rolling tape at this point.
He came to understand the need of keeping watchful and faithful, even in the face of adversity. Instead of attempting to forecast the future, they should concentrate on being steady in their faith and living according to God's.
Look how uncomfortable these things are. Like, what? I mean, you're going to get a splinter on that. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen right there, because you can get infected. And
Principles.
It's not.
In changing times, the power of Christians' faith stays constant. The globe has changed continuously throughout the years. The conflict in Ukraine worsened, and natural catastrophes struck havoc on many areas. However, a tiny number of believers in Jerusalem saw their faith growing stronger in the midst of these occurrences. They stayed committed to studying the scriptures, praying for one another, and helping one another through tough times. Elijah, now an elderly man, reflected on his chat with Benjamin and the important lessons he had learned about the signs of the times.
Like, what?
He saw
what are they talking about? Like, what is it with this Benjamin thing? This is like a story that he needs to tell. Like, does it help you spread the gospel if you do it through a narrative structure? Like, what's happening here?
Need of remaining anchored in faith and believing in God's plan, even when the world seemed to be spinning out of control. As a community leader, Elijah helped people on their spiritual journeys, assisting them in comprehending the significance of contemporary events through the lens of Scripture. He gladly recounted his chat with Benjamin, passing on the knowledge he had received. Ruth, a young lady bereaved, contacted Elijah one day. She had recently lost her father in Ukraine's continuing conflict.
What is happening? Hold on.
And was struggling to make sense of the misery and damage she witnessed. Where is God in all of this? She questioned, her eyes welling up.
What's that?
Elijah.
Let's see. Cosmic Kyle said, the ego of man thinking they are the creation of the divine blows my mind. Like, dude, you're literally an ape. Chill. Exactly. Right. Yeah, and not to mention and being able to see, be able to put all the signs together, because Jesus is, of course, just talking to them. They're the one. You're the special one, bro. You're the one that God's chosen to have you tell everybody else, that the end of the world is here. Come on.
Tenderly reacted to Ruth,
Jeez.
reminding her that God is with us in our sorrow, just as he was with Jesus on the cross. God understands our anguish and longs to console us.
That's Jesus right there.
However, he reminded Ruth that this world is not our last destination, and that God has a larger purpose for us that we cannot comprehend. Elijah
so
told
then what's
Benjamin's
the point? I love that when they you can't comprehend the purpose, and it's like, but you're supposed to be getting tested and all this stuff for some purpose that you can't figure out and you can never know. But it's just like, then what the fuck's the point?
Narrative and the lessons he had learned about the signs of the times. He reminded Ruth of Jesus's warnings regarding wars, earthquakes, and other natural calamities. However, he also advised his support.
Have happened since the beginning of time, man. There's never been a time when there weren't wars and there weren't there weren't natural disasters, and except I guess before humans. I guess you could go with that, like Cosmic Guy was just talking about with the dinosaurs. I guess you could talk about saying that's like before wars or whatever. But every time, ever since humans were able to talk and understand each other, wars. We were that's what we did.
Not to be concerned. Instead, they were to remain firm in their faith, hoping that God would guide them through their difficulties.
He is crying.
In the midst of her anguish, Ruth found consolation in Elijah's words. She realized that God's love and presence may be found even in the darkest of circumstances. Ruth, filled with fresh energy, committed herself.
Like blatantly white Jesus. I mean, whoa, like super duper white. Like it might as well just be me, with long hair and white clothes.
To her religion and joined the Jerusalem group of believers. While managing the problems of their environment, they continued to read scriptures.
Look at that white
pray.
Jesus. My goodness. That was like What is going on with these white?
committed
It's
herself to her
so
religion
white.
and joined the Jerusalem group of believers. While managing the problems of their environment, they
Look
continued
at that shit. Look at this. What is happening? That is like, jeez Louise. That guy looks like he's from fucking Vermont.
to read scriptures, pray, and encourage one another. The community suffered various challenges and tribulations in the years that followed. The conflict in Ukraine continued,
And
while
soldier.
the aftershocks from the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria continued to have an influence on the region.
So that's the
They
end.
stayed faithful in their
times.
faith, taking consolation in Jesus' teachings, which guaranteed that the end was not yet. The legends
Dude,
of Benjamin
you don't need people to tell you that it's not yet the end, because we can all see we're still fucking here. It's not the end. This is weird that you're having to say this to people. Don't worry, it's not right now. The end, it's not, time is continuously going still. I know, it's crazy, right? This is just, I know you need me to tell you this.
Elijah and Ruth
What?
were handed along as the community flourished and new generations formed. These stories demonstrated the lasting strength of faith in the face of hardship. The Christians continued to look to the signs of the times as a reminder that God's plan was being carried out, offering them hope and strength in difficult times. As the sun sank over Jerusalem, bathing the
What is
ancient
the
city in a
purpose of
warm
this?
glow, the community of believers felt a deep feeling of serenity. Despite their tribulations, they knew that their unshakable confidence in God's plan will guide them through the world's uncertainties. They were a beacon of hope and a monument to the power of believing God's promises even in the darkest of circumstances. The first indication is religious dishonesty. Jesus predicted the indications that would precede his
Religion is just dishonesty. What are you talking? It's about knowing things that you couldn't possibly know, and then just acting like you're super duper like confident about knowing it. Like
appearance and the
that's
end
just
of the
all
era.
religion.
As the first sign, Jesus emphasized religious deceit, warning that many would come claiming to be the Messiah and fool many. This type of fraud is widespread nowadays. It is no longer
And
limited.
now you've set up a system where you can't ever be wrong and you can't ever be right. Like, or everybody can be both either right or wrong depending upon who you are at any time. Everybody can just point to everybody else and go, "Oh, they're the false teachers," but I've got it right, and that can just happen in an infinite circle now because of this, like because of teaching like this. Oh, there's false teachers, and they have to do that because they know there's way too many denominations of there's got, and they in their head they're like, but I've got the right one, and they have to be able to do that. If you can't do that, if you can't, like, if there's actually a right one, if there's actually a way to figure out what the right one is, then you won't have this, you won't have these problems. But since that's not possible, you're kind of stuck.
Limited to those claiming to be Christ, but has spread across Christianity. The watering down of Christian witness, motivated by a fear of upsetting others and adjusting to world beliefs,
So yeah, motivated by a fear of not hating gay people, just like basically is what they're saying. A fear of upsetting others. Like they only upset others when they basically take the rights away from people using legislation to enforce their religion, and then they're like, man, they're just not being my religion hard enough, and then that's what they just think we're being rude. It's like, no, man, you're taking rights away from people, man.
is an indication of
Jesus.
religious dishonesty.
And that's
Unpredictability and devastation are the hallmarks of earthquakes. In
what?
keeping with the indications described by Jesus, beliefs
Wait, hold
is
on.
an indication
Sorry.
of religious dishonesty. Unpredictability and
What is?
and fool many. This type of fraud is widespread nowadays. It is no longer limited to those claiming to be Christ, but has spread across Christianity. The watering down of Christian witness, motivated by a fear of upsetting others and adjusting to world beliefs, is an indication of religious dishonesty.
Oh,
Unpredictability and devastation are the hallmarks of earthquakes.
Jesus.
In keeping with the indications described by Jesus, earthquakes are significant. According to Luke 21.
So being okay with basically, okay, let's recap. All right. Basically, they're saying that it's okay that if you're okay with other people being who they are, then that is that is a hallmark that happens just before fucking earthquakes, and that's just a normal thing that's been happening through in reality, in real, like, people, that's something that we can see. That's not just confirmation bias ever. No.
1 verse 11.
Jesus
Jesus spoke about big earthquakes, not just little ones. A prominent example of such a disaster was the
Well, I'm glad that you cleared that up, that Jesus was talking about big earthquakes and not little.
catastrophic earthquake in Turkey. It happened
Stupid.
near to Israel, and there had been speculation of a large earthquake hitting the area. As a result, researchers predict that earthquakes near Israel might cause a big seismic event. However, the precise timing of such events remains unknown.
No
War
shit.
is another symptom.
Oh.
War was also mentioned by Jesus as a sign. The unfolding crisis between Russia and Ukraine is a stark reminder of how wars may quickly grow to catastrophic dimensions. The ferocity of this fight corresponds to the indications Jesus predicted, underscoring the importance of our times as Christians navigate the signs of the times. It is critical to have firm faith in God's promises. The tale of the Jerusalem Christians demonstrates that no matter what problems we encounter, our confidence in God's plan.
What the fuck, dude? It's like glowy Jesus here. It's like this stock footage is hilarious. I love it. It's ridiculous.
May provide us with the strength and courage to endure.
Jesus Christ.
In a world plagued with upheaval and conflict, our religion allows us to find hope and calm. In these trying times, Matthew 24, verse 6 offers hope and consolation. Jesus' remarks talk of battles and rumors of wars, emphasizing that while these events must occur, they do not herald the end of the world. Jesus gave us these signals so that we may grasp global trends and orient ourselves correctly. He chastised the Pharisees and Sadducees for failing to detect and appreciate the signs of the times, emphasizing the value of discernment and comprehension. The lesson of the Jewish rebellion serves as a warning. The historical setting of the Jews' insurrection against Rome exemplifies the repercussions of exaggerating their might while underestimating Rome. It's a good reminder to be cautious in the present scenario. It is difficult for Israel to assess its role in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. While President Zelensky has sold Israeli armaments, the government has carefully avoided active engagement in the fight. Nonetheless,
this is the thing, like when it comes to end time stuff, the main thing that you'll hear pretty much across all denominations of Christian is that Israel is key. That's where everything happens. Everything's going to be because of Israel, and Israel's going to cause a bunch of other stuff. And now they're waiting for everybody to attack Israel, and then they're miraculously saved, right? So they're hoping not hoping, but I mean, they're expecting that, Russia or one of them is going to defeat somebody else, and they're going to basically unite the entire Middle East against Israel. But that never, ever ends up happening. It's just not how, it's just not, it's ridiculous.
Israel retains critical contacts with Russia, which are required to deal with Iran's position in Syria. As a result, Israel must tread carefully in this delicate circumstance. We know that Israel will endure difficult times based on biblical teachings. It is also certain that God will notably assist his people. As Christians, we may have faith that God has a purpose for Israel and will guide and protect them during their trials. So, what are your thoughts on the rapture indicators that happened and how, up until the moment the signals occurred? Leave a comment and subscribe.
Let's recap. Wars and rumors of wars. That was so that was two things. And earthquakes. That's it. That's all we got. That's oh god. I know, right? I'll answer. Hey, Christians are simultaneously are anti-Semitic, but also fetishize Jewish people. I know, it's so fucking weird. It's gross. It makes me uncomfortable. The whole thing. It's just not. It's not okay. It's just not. All right. What else we got here? Let's see. So we got false prophet, docetism, debunked. I don't know what that means. I'm kind of tired of that one though. I've been doing a lot of those videos. Oh, we got this idiot. Disney confirms the worst. Reaction from a Christian perspective. It's